maybe every time someone scores, you just hear that Dick Wolf dong dong.
We, the hosts of this podcast, in order to record amorephillyunion, discuss recent union games, examine the latest union news, celebrate and lament the newest player rumors, and increase our union fanaticism, do record, edit, and distribute this episode of amorephillyunion. We are your hosts. I'm Paul.
And I'm E.
And we're C-less this week.
We are C-less. We are...
Unfortunately, Christy is not feeling well, and it's affected her voice, and she just needs some sleep.
Yeah,
so we're running this one sans C.
Yeah. So when this episode is a stinking pile, we know why. It's kind of like when the team loses because that one player's not there. We all know who's the MVP here. So.
For those who follow American football, when Peyton Manning goes down and so did the rest of the Broncos season, you know why.
They lost that team spirit.
Yeah. So that's a bit of housekeeping. So let's see. We've got 2 new U.S. downloads, Eric. What's that?
Yeah, just look at the numbers. So we have some new states popping up on the map. So a welcome to both Alabama and Indiana.
Very cool. And so how many does that take us up to of the states?
We now have downloads from 33 of these 50 great states. So we're getting there. So
very cool.
We're looking at you, Alaska and Hawaii.
All right. We're kind of, without C on board, we're kind of treating this as a preseason game, a preseason episode. But we kind of have settled on our Help Us Help the You challenge. So it's a soft opening. Let's put it that way. For us.
I like that.
Our Help Us Help the You challenge for 2024. We want to get a little more interactive this season. We want to try to encourage more social media interaction. So we are going to set up weekly at amorephillyunion challenges. So again, you can reach us at our social media accounts. On X, we are amorephillyu. On Instagram and Threads, we are amorephillyunion. And for this week, what we're asking you to do, well, each week we're going to ask our listeners to post on social media, where we ask you guys to post a picture on any of the social medias and at us. If we get enough folks adding at us, then we'll quote unquote win
the week.
And when we successfully complete 20 weekly at AMPU challenges, then we'll call this Help Us Help the You challenge a success. So again, each week's going to be its own separate challenge. We get 20 successful weekly challenges. That's when we will make our donation.
And so what we'll do is on each episode, we'll tell you the week's challenge, and then you guys go out there, social media, add us with the photo that answers that weekly challenge. And then when we get whatever the goal is for that week of these ads, that's a successful week. We'll see. I don't know. Hopefully this will be fun, a little different, a little bit more interactive, so you guys can bring some flavor and creativity as well to what we're doing here.
And if we get those 20 weeks done early, we'll set some stretch goals to contribute a little bit more to the Philadelphia Union.
So when we hit 20 successful weeks, we make a donation, and then like you said, Paul, there's enough time in the rest of the season. We got some stretch goals.
All right, so let's week 1.
What is it? What is it?
This is our weekly challenge for week 1 in honor of the opening game of the season happening at Subaru Park. We wanted you to take a picture of Subaru Park and or a selfie of yourself at Subaru Park, or a picture of your television showing the game on Saturday night. And post it to any of the social medias, Threads, Instagram. You can find us at amorephillyunion, and X or Twitter. You can find us at amorephillyu. Add us, and we're starting very low. We want to see if this is even going to possibly work.
Yes.
So our goal is 3 social media posts on across those systems. So add us. We're looking for at least 3 posts. If we get that, we'll call this one a success.
And heck, get creative with it. Maybe we'll even on the following week's episode, we'll at least comment on our favorite one, and like definitely get some shout outs to your social media accounts.
Yep.
Hey, if Union Hulk wants to do this, we will be giving a shout out to Union Hulk.
Yeah. So if you want to take a picture of Subaru Park, yourself at Subaru Park, a picture of a Subaru at some park, that's fine. Get creative. But as always, if you just want to directly help the Union Foundation, we definitely encourage you to go visit philadelphiaunionfoundation.org and throw some money with a donation, or better yet, get involved. Reach out to them, find out if there's a way you can volunteer. There's a lot of really good options that are there for them.
Yeah.
Each week we'll be coming up with different challenges, and hopefully they'll be in some way related to the upcoming games and such activities that are happening with the Union. If you have some ideas for what challenges we could come, if you see something in week 8 and be like, hey, they're going up against Miami, so you got to get a picture of yourself with some sort of a stuffed flamingo or something like that, whatever, throw it out to us. We'll certainly consider it.
And also, just in case all of our social media handles came at you too quick, you can always find all of our information on our website, amorephillyunion.com, and it has all of our RSS feeds and all that good stuff. So you can always go there.
All right, but the Union have been active. There have been a couple of games now to talk about. With the final game of the preseason, Union took on Revolution midweek. Was a 0-0 draw. I unfortunately, although Trevor was broadcasting it, I didn't actually get a chance to watch the game.
Did Trevor actually broadcast?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's actually Trevor, but
you know what I mean. Proverbially,
they did stream the
game, because obviously I didn't watch it.
And it was a 0-0 draw. So I mean, they played 2 45-minute halves, and the defense held them shut out, and that's not nothing against Carlos Gil and the Union, or the Revs attack. Caleb Porter. Leading them.
It was funny on the website. It was slightly misleading because I missed the game for whatever reason. I can't remember, but so I didn't catch the game live. But I went to see what the result was, and I remember the headline on the Union website was Union. What was it? Something like,
I'm looking for it.
Union
wrap up preseason was shut out against New England Revolution.
Yeah, and I said like, hey, we won.
No, we just didn't lose.
It was a draw. It was a draw. Yeah.
I mean, it is true that if you never give up a goal, you'll never lose a game. But at the same point, it would have been nice to actually have gotten a point there, or gotten a goal there to get the win. So I also don't have a ton to say about this game, other than, hey, it was good to see the defense kick in, and I believe that was Elliott and Lowe playing center defense in that one. So they have been rotating a lot of players through the preseason. So hopefully we'll see a lot of rotation through the season, as the Union are going to need it, because they've got a lot of games lined up.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely, I think, one of the hallmarks of this whole preseason was just, I think even like, medical staff were getting some time to play on the field. They just kept rotating and all these new faces and stuff like that, playing around with lineups.
The formation seems pretty similar. I mean, there's some slight variations depending on the personnel on the field, whether they're playing a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1. I didn't see any points where they went to the Christmas tree, the 4-3-2-1. But there are definitely some wrinkles in their formations, but on the whole, they have been doing a good job rotating. Although I think a lot of it was to kind of prepare the team for this first couple of weeks of the season. Trying to knock as much rust off as the Union started their first competitive match in Costa Rica against Saprissa. And that was last night, and late last night. I don't know why they put the game on so late. I don't know. Is Costa Rica in a different time zone?
Yeah, they are.
Are they in the Pacific? time
It might
zone?
be Pacific or Mountain. I gotta that's my guess. So I
Okay.
think they're definitely, I think, at least 2 hours behind us, maybe three. I don't know. I'll have to check my Google Maps.
But it was interesting. Curtin in his post game presser was talking about like, the day was really nice down there apparently, and then as game time got closer, the temperature
Mm,
dropped and the weather rolled in, and it got really, really rainy and
yeah.
messy and windy. And
Uh-huh.
I remember watching the game and seeing like the guys' jerseys blowing around, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, this is going to really affect things. Although. Um, Now, let's jump right into it. The Union end up winning this one, 3 to
Yeah.
2.
Well, Paul, actually, I was just going to say, dovetailing what you just said, cold, wet, messy. It's like that kind of plays into our hands to a certain degree, because we're good at playing a messy game. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what helped give us this win.
So whether or not even Mother Nature wants to play soccer or to have a street fight, we'll show up for either.
We could do either.
Um, so so the Union did end up winning this one.
Yeah.
As far as the positives, let's just talk about it. Carranza scored as a hat trick in the second half.
Yeah, right. Scoops boy comes through in a big way with that hat trick.
Yes.
I mean, if there was ever a statement to make at the beginning of the season, that's a pretty big statement. Also, I'll say that it looked like the Union fielded, Paul, what you were kind of talking about in the previous week was it's going to be interesting to see what kind of lineup the Union field, and they fielded a very serious lineup.
They did.
That was a lineup as if they were going into a final. So it'd be interested to see what message that says as we go forward in the season.
Yeah, so that was Lowe and Glesnes in center defense, Wagner out left, Harriel out right, and then Martinez at the base of the diamond with McLean to the left, Sullivan to the right, Gazdag at the attacking midfielder position, and then Ora and Carranza up top. Arguably, you could say Elliott and Glesnes would be our preferred center back pairing. But Damian Lowe has been getting a lot of time in the preseason, and he showed well. He did a good job in this game. So they definitely took this game seriously. And I will be interested to see what they roll out against Chicago, and if they give any of these guys a rest, and
it's
then
not much of a rest.
Then bring out this lineup again for the return match against Saprissa in Philly next Tuesday. Or if they try to keep rolling this formation. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, certainly watching this game, the first half especially, there was a lot of rust out there. The Union, Saprissa definitely had them back on their heels for at least the first 20 minutes of the game.
I agree.
And the Union were really hustling to try to find the open players, try to buy themselves some time on the ball.
I agree. And like what Curtin said at the post-game conference, and that was actually wrote down, the Union did show discipline out there. So I know, like at the beginning of the game, Saprissa was running that game, but the Union maintained shape. Sometimes a little nervous making. Lowe had a few low moments where he was that little, the baby fawn and those shaky legs, and that defense was a little shaky, but they maintained discipline. Now there was a whole slew of yellow cards that came out in this game, a whole slew.
Well, they didn't actually hit the yellow cards until 37 minutes.
Sure, yeah, but it got chippy really fast.
Because it's been 3 years, I think, since they played Saprissa, and it definitely felt like there was some animosity between these teams.
Was it that long since we played Saprissa?
I think that's what I heard in the announcement. Like 2021 was the last time when the Union beat them 1-0 in Costa Rica and then 4-0 in Philadelphia. And the thing about that game was that there were no fans in the stands for that game in Saprissa. And so you could definitely tell that the environment was affecting the Union. It could have been just mostly preseason rust, but it felt like I think they were impacted. I will say, as far as preseason rest, I was really surprised by Ora's lack of speed.
Oh, okay.
There were a couple of points there where he had a chance to break past the player, and they kept up with him. And I would have just put that down to, oh, okay, I guess that guy's just that fast that he's able to keep up with Aura.
Yeah.
Except that in the second half, a play happened like that, and Sullivan beat that guy. And I'm not saying there's anything, Sullivan's certainly faster than me, but I don't know that Sullivan is faster than Aura. So I was surprised, or at least what Aura was doing last season.
Yeah, it's interesting because I watching, especially during the first half where Saprissa had kind of, again, the run of the game, to me, they felt fast. Those guys really felt like they were just off to the races and maybe a quick counterattack kind of thing. But I really thought Saprissa was looking pretty quick. So Aura, basically keeping step, or them keeping step with Aura. And I was like, well, okay, get over that. We just have a lot more fast players out there. But yeah, I do remember that play where Sullivan, it was like a long ball and Sullivan beat out that defender. I remember thinking like, wow, where'd Sullivan get the jets from?
Yep.
So, I mean, also kudos to Sullivan. I mean, maybe he is getting some jets, which is awesome.
He's 19. He could certainly be developing that power.
Exactly.
Should we get to the first, big major mistake from the Union here in the first half?
Because I have questions. I feel like we're going to have to bring in some like legal experts about the whole. So just a quick step back here. So just to remind everybody, or for the new listeners, so the Union is facing off Saprissa and the champions, Concacaf Champions.
Concacaf Champions Cup.
Exactly. And this is going to be a 2-game aggregate competition between us and Saprissa. And in cases of the overall score being tied, away goals are weighed that much more, right? So the fact that the Union scored 3 goals is a big feather in our cap for the second game when Saprissa comes back to Philadelphia.
Right. Well, we were talking about the big mistake in the first half by the Union.
Yes. So this whole away goal thing, I kind of a little bit of a joke, but it is kind of a question. But let's jump into this now. So
the Union hadn't given up a goal to Saprissa in quite a while.
Exactly.
Certainly their last 2 games they held them to shutouts. So the Union in the first half, there's a ball that breaks loose. It comes back into our half.
Yep.
Wind, rain. Let's remember that is going on.
Yeah. It was
Glesnes plays a very high ball back towards Blake. Now, one of the things that I try to coach all of my defenders is if you have to pass it back to a keeper, never pass it back on frame. And Glesnes puts it back on frame. And I don't know why Blake was where he was, but he tries to make some sort of a diving body check, the block to stop the ball, and just totally misses. And this ball just goes right into the Union net. And it was like 40, 50 yards out. It was crazy how far that ball went.
It was a weird goal because at first I thought it was a little bit of the here's a real big throwback to both one of our previous episodes and early MLS, that Danny Sapiro goal against Columbus.
Oh my gosh.
It felt like that, where Glesnes sends his long arcing ball back to Blake. Blake comes out, but it bounces in front of him and it looks like it then goes over Blake, like he misjudged it.
Goes to the side, yeah.
Goes in that. But when they showed the replay, Blake, he does jump up in the air and he does get to the right elevation of the ball. But the ball, like, I don't know what it does. It's like a weird cricket pitch or something. It just bounced off the ground and just went just to the left of Blake. It just went right past them.
Yeah.
It was so weird. Again, rain, wind, all that, but it was just a weird goal. It was a weird goal.
Yeah.
And it really felt deflating. Nothing's deflating like an own goal.
Yeah. Yeah, Glesnes seemed a little shocked by things. Like I'm surprised they didn't get together and talk about it at that point. But yeah, I mean, the Union still hadn't given up a goal by Saprissa at that point, although they had given up a goal to Saprissa. So disheartening. So yeah, that was
about the 30th minute or so.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
28th minute,
something like that.
According to the box score.
Yeah.
So, the Union held on for the rest of the half, didn't give up a second goal, although the Saprissa did have a couple of dangerous looks. Union
And
had some opportunities as well in that first half. It certainly was a back and forth game.
absolutely. And then the yellow cards start coming out too in the first half because there was this.
So I was surprised by the first two yellow cards that went to the
Okay.
Union players.
Yeah, I would go ahead. So let's talk about
So
that one.
there was a mix-up along the right-hand side,
Mhm.
around midfield for the Union. Carranza going in with one of the Saprissa players,
And
and
even that was a weird tackle.
it was.
Like because Carranza got tripped up and he's falling backwards into the back of this guy's leg.
Yeah.
And it was an accident. I mean, it was like
Well, I don't think he got a card for that.
No.
I think he got a card for whatever it was he said when he got up.
Oh.
And they don't. Again, I wish the referees gave some better explanation as to why they were giving out yellow cards, or mouth
Exactly.
something. Just like chicken dance, just the squawking,
Exactly.
something like that. Just so we know what he was that he got. But I think he got the foul right.
Wait, maybe it was a what was it called again? A sarcastic foul? What was it? It was deserving of a blue card.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
A cynical foul?
Cynical.
Yeah,
That's what it was. So Carranza gets tangled up, takes down there was a mix up on the right-hand side. Carranza and the Saprissa player go down. Carranza gets up. I'm pretty sure it's because Carranza mouthed off to the referee for some reason or another. He gets a yellow card. Immediately, then Martinez has to Martinez because he's a Leo, right? Isn't that what Christy always says?
Yeah.
So the Leo comes out,
our favorite Leo,
and he mouths off, and the referee gives him a yellow card. But interestingly, the referee also gave a yellow card to one of the Saprissa players.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the Saprissa player that was involved in the tackle in the first place, or if he also said something and it was just the referee was just shutting it all down at this point. But 37. The two Union yellow cards are listed as the 37th minute, and then the Saprissa yellow card is in the 38th. It actually briefly looked like he was giving that third card to Gajdog, but it was it was clear that he was facing a Saprissa player and awarded that one. All of a sudden towards the end of the half, yellow card. But the Union were able to hold off the rest of the game and get the halftime only down from a known goal. They definitely seemed to get more organized at the start of the second half.
Yeah,
I don't know what Curtin had to review with everybody or what he did to sponsor or excite them or share with them.
Maybe promised a pizza party after the game.
Whatever it was, seemed to settle them down, get their heads back into the game. And they came out firing in that second half. They looked like a different team.
It was a tale of two different halves. And maybe it was a matter of just weathering the storm of the first half. The longer Saprissa goes without scoring, the more the wind we take out of their sails, the more we dampen the crowd spirit. Although I will say, I don't know if it was just how the audio is mixed or if it was really like that, but holy cow, that stadium sounded like an absolute cauldron. When that first goal went in, I think my subwoofer was like bottoming out. It was just, it was so loud. It was so loud. But yes, so the Union came out in that second half, and the momentum was clearly starting to shift in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, they just started getting more penetrating passes. They were connecting passes. They started looking like they were enjoying themselves a bit. And as we've talked about in the past, you want to see which team is going to win. Take a look at which team is having fun out there.
Exactly.
And, even down a goal, the Unions were in this game. And so there was the Union got up on the attack. Ball ended up breaking out to the left-hand side, and Gajdog, I think it was
Wagner.
Yeah. Wagner put it into the box, and Carranza just rose up, So the ball come in from the left. Carranza gets it kind of middle of the box and puts the ball back towards where it came from. So he hits it to the left side of the goal. So the keeper's moving to, from his right to his left, and then the ball goes back to the keeper's right. He just had no chance at that. And it was just a well taken header.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when that ball went in, it did
silence the stadium.
It did silence the stadium. It did. It really did. And I think the Union, up to that point playing, they were playing, again, I'll use the word, they were playing disciplined. And so they get this goal and they equalize, and they just maintain that discipline. You get that excitement, you get that joy, even, you're starting to play, you just level, you just equalized, and it just kept carrying them through. Well, there's a lot more goals were yet to come.
So that was in the 55th minute that first goal came. So they tied it up in the 55th minute, and they just kept the pressure on. Now it would take 20 minutes for them to find a second goal.
And one of the interesting things too was Ora comes out and Bedoya comes in. So one, Ora coming out said something. Maybe it's just his legs weren't there. Maybe he was a little gassed. But two, Bedoya coming in, really good to see that he's jumping in a game like that now. Arguably with not maybe as much off-season training, etc. So I was glad to see him come into the game.
He and Ora both are late to the preseason camp, so they probably both need to come up on their on their conditioning.
Yeah, good. A little bit of a 1-for-1 maybe in terms of
because what they did is they shifted things around, because it was Ora came out and Martinez came out. Exactly. I think Martinez, like the commentators were saying, they pulled him out just to avoid a second yellow card.
I know, right?
And they put Bueno in. I love Martinez. I think he's a great defensive midfielder. I think Bueno brings slightly more on the attacking side of the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
Which was an interesting switch, because he's still solid on defense, but he's more likely to penetrate. And I think what they did then is they moved Sullivan from the right side of the diamond to Ora's spot up top, and they put Bedoya then in the right side of the midfield. Which I don't know if it was moving Sullivan up top where he played all season last year or what, but the next two goals were the same connections. It was Sullivan to Gazdag to Carranza for the goal. They were beautiful. They were really well worked goals.
Yeah, and I got to say, that makes Sullivan contention for the latest member of the Triangle of Death, right? Because with the way Ora played,
it's the Diamond of Death.
Now
the DOD.
The DOD. There we go. It's our new one for the season, folks. It's the DOD. We've gone from the Triangle of Death to the Diamond of Death.
And we'll see if McGlynn starts chiming into that as well, depending on who's on the field.
Now we're getting to pentagrams.
Yeah, right. But no, so the next goal came in the 75th minute, and it was a well-worked ball up the side. They found, I think it was Wagner played it to Sullivan at the top of the box along the left-hand side. He saw Gazdag making a run to the left side near post. He fed it forward to Gazdag, who played it straight across, and Carranza just beat the defender to the in position, and the keeper was playing that side of the net. Carranza was right in the middle of the net. It was it's simple but not easy play for Carranza to score that goal. That second goal, just heads up, bang bang, quick passes, well done.
Yeah,
connectivity.
Yeah, Christian and I were watching that game, and man, when that second goal went in, I was just like, that was just textbook training right there. Training and muscle memory, and
the team remembering, oh yeah, we are good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they were playing that discipline led to that confidence.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt like that was like 2 seasons ago when they were just steamrolling, right? There was that confidence, and there was that
swagger,
and there was a glimmer of that in that game, especially by this point.
And again, we've talked about this in the past, but I think sometimes when you bring those younger players in who aren't afraid to try things, good things happen. And I think Sullivan was that spark for that second goal.
Yeah.
And that second goal in particular, where he had to get his head up, and he did not have much time to get his head up to find Gazdag making that run, was really that was eye-opening to see from Sullivan.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a mature move to make, right? Because he kind of quickly paused, shook that defender off briefly to give himself a little bit of space, and he just looked to see what his options were, and he made that nice pass to Gazdag.
Now the next goal happened 4 minutes later, and this was just straight up speed kills. It was a long ball from Harriel or from Bedoya, I can't remember which now, up the right wing, and like we had talked about, somehow or another Sullivan found another gear, just blew past that defender to get that ball and take it to the top of the 18-yard box. This time along the right-hand side, he does a cutback, gets his head up, see Gazdag that's making the run with him, plays it to Gazdag, who's more central but near the top of the 18-yard box. And Gajdag's scanning before the ball gets to him. Once again, sees Carranza's got the inside edge on a defender, feeds it to Carranza, who one times it past the keeper. I mean, it was again, like you said, textbook. Training pitch kind of stuff. Just bang, 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 head up play, find the runner, make the pass, and finish.
And that's the play. Sorry, that's the play where Sullivan, with that breakaway down the right side, does that quick stop, gets some distance between the defender, and makes the look. Yeah, and it was total training ground. It was great to see. Yeah, great to see. Just purely calculated, perfectly executed.
So it will be interesting to see if Sullivan either replaces or supplements the triangle of death, or how that's going to play out. But certainly that performance was very, very positive. I am interested to see what happens moving forward. Or it definitely looks like he was not as quick as Sullivan was on the night. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. If Ora, gets a few more weeks to build up his conditioning. Yeah. They start playing Sullivan on the more important areas, or do they, punch, 1-2 punch it, where they put Ora in to soften up the defense, and then have Sullivan come in to finish it off.
Absolutely. I remember Sullivan having some moments of just pure speed last season. Oh yeah. And there were a couple of those long passes, breakaways, with Sullivan and all that. So it's kind of like you said, it's good to have,
options.
Yeah, 2 bullets in the or 2 arrows in the quiver, as you say. Yeah. And the other thing to do is for all the months we've been talking about Ora just not delivering. I mean, there are some games where he does. I think we all agree this season, man, I really hope Ora just finds that groove. Yeah. And just does what we know we can do. And he just starts racking up this score. Basically, let's give Carranza a run for the money on the top scorer for our team.
Absolutely. That'd be great. I'd love to see a competition for that. So Carranza did eventually come out after, in the 79th minute, Carranza finished his hat trick, and the 85th minute, Donovan subbed in for Carranza. Quinn Sullivan would be pulled off. Jack McGlynn would be pulled off in second half stoppage time. Marcus Anderson came in for Sullivan as the second attacker up top, and Raffanello went in for McGlynn in the midfield. Yeah. And then Saprissa finally would score their own goal in the second half stoppage time. I don't know what your impression of this goal was, but to me, it was sloppy defense. I mean, it was a well-struck goal from the top of the 18-yard box, but the fact that they let him dribble it into the middle of the field like that at that spot, and then just seemed to be diving all over the place. And Glasner's missed the last chance to possibly make it play on the goal, and Blake really didn't have a shot at it, but it was just really felt like sloppy defense because he was a defender, and he basically dribbled through the entire Union defense. It
it really felt like one of those highlight videos like on you see online where like, like the old Messi ones where he's cutting through like 5 different defenders and he scores. And I remember watching that play unfold. He gets past one of our guys and then around another, and then you could just feel in the back of your head like, oh no, this is gonna go in. Someone tries to slide tackle, he gets around them, and it's like a bad, it's like playing FIFA on this super hard level and you're slide tackling against the computer and you can't stop them. It's like, oh, it just, everything went all slow motion. I'm like, this guy's gonna score. Yeah. And sure enough, he gets the shot off, and Blake watched it go in, and it was just, he was caught looking.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, hats off to Saprissa. It was a great goal, but Paul, I do agree, it was also our defense botched it.
Yep. So at the end of this game, the Union ended up with 3 goals, giving up 2.
Yep.
They get 4 yellow cards. Saprissa got 1. So we won on both counts.
Yeah. I think we got a yellow card for every goal we scored.
That's right. That's right.
So that brings me to my question, right? So now the way this is going to work, right? When we go to game 2, the Union have 3 away goals, which means even if like we lose, the Saprissa comes to Philly and they beat us 1-0, the aggregate score would be 3-3, but that Saprissa only has 1 away goal. We have 3 away goals, and therefore we would win, right? So we got that nice buffer. If we draw, we got a 3 away goal buffer. So that means Saprissa's got to score.
They have to win by 2.
They have to win by 2,
or they have to win 4-3.
Exactly. So that's a big advantage for us. But I like to make the argument, technically, we have 4 away goals. So
yes, but unfortunately, one of them was against us.
That doesn't. Where in the rules does it say it's got to be? No, I know. Yeah, but you got to spin it, one way or another. I also like to think now when Glesnes gets the ball in our defense, everyone's going to start shouting,
"Shoot!
No, don't shoot! Don't shoot!"
We'll have to see what happens. Oh, man. All right. So that was a good game from the Union. They definitely set themselves up for the return leg. So good on them.
And it was just good to see that confidence playing, because during the preseason, I'll be honest, these preseason games, while I know they're playing they're all different lineups, all different players, and it's just, they're just trying out stuff. Nothing really was giving me a lot of excitement for the coming season, but this game was like, they fielded a very serious lineup and they played a very serious, but then disciplined and then confident game. So let's see more of that.
Keep the swagger swagging.
That's right.
Let's ride the swagger wagon.
The swagger wagon, baby. Swagger wagon.
I see merch.
I see our song selection too for this week.
All right. Other things, talking about the roster, there was an interesting announcement MLS put out. I'm going to read here a statement from MLS on Kai Wagner. Following Kai Wagner's completion of MLS's restorative practices program, and in keeping with the MLSPA joint anti-discrimination policy, Major League Soccer announced on February 19th that Wagner's previously announced 3-game suspension will no longer carry forward into the first match of the 2024 season.
All right.
Wagner is therefore eligible to play when the 2024 season begins.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess he followed all the anti-discrimination policy, all the trainings that he had to do. And, I guess there was some sort of a mechanics in place that if he did that and there was some honest, evidence of redemption or, basically
sincere
apology.
Yeah.
That, he was able to do it. And, I'm grateful to hear, I'm taking this to mean that he actually demonstrated some sincere regret over what happened.
Yeah. I mean, as much as when these bad things happen and they suck, it's good to see sincere amends being made and reflect it in how the game goes forward. And
I'm hoping that statement demonstrates that they saw that from it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that means that he will be available to play against Chicago this weekend when they take them on. So we'll see that. Just question I had with the way that this game went and Carranza's current contract situation.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if this hat trick and hopefully Carranza's continued scoring efforts might lead to either a more legitimate offer from a team that he wants to go to, or the Union making a play and get him signed.
Yeah.
I'm sure he won't be cheap. I'm sure I would expect that he's looking to be paid better than Aura. Because all he used to do is look at the stats and be like, come on, guys.
I know he does produce more. Yeah.
I get that Aura is quite a bit older than me, because I think Aura is like 5 years older than Carranza.
Okay.
But to the same point, he could certainly make an argument that Carranza is more valuable to the team recently, at least in the last season or so. So we'll see what happens. Definitely still waiting to hear on this Carranza contract situation to be resolved in some way, which would be nice.
When if a move does come, right, it can't happen until the transfer window in the summer, right? Or can it happen before that?
There are certain leagues that have different windows, and there are certain mechanisms that can happen outside the normal transfer window. But more than likely, if he's looking to get into one of the top leagues, it would be in that July transfer window. I'm hoping that it starts off with him re-signing a new contract for a certain length of time, and then comes with a transfer or not.
Yeah. And I guess too, then they would also have to buy out that contract that he just signed with us.
Well, the transfer is of the contract, and
true.
The company, then whoever he goes to pays the whatever left of the salary for the season.
Gotcha.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
So other than that, not really a lot of roster news. Just although they did pick up I did see a couple more players were picked up for Union 2. I think we already talked about Brandon Craig being loaned out. And, definitely they're starting to see some more post from the players that we aren't necessarily starting. Like, not necessarily. Damian Lowe did get an article written about him this week, but they've been highlighting some people like Marcus Anderson, a new striker. And I'm gonna apologize if I mispronounce his name. Owethu Mekanya. I think he's a midfielder or a defense. I can't remember where, but it's good to see some of the non-starters getting some recognition and some coverage from the team.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a real shame that Christy's not here tonight, because I absolutely wanted to get her impression of what was up with Jim Curtin's outfit this game against Saprissa. All I could think of was he's the man in black. And I'm not sure if I treat that more as a Johnny Cash thing or Stephen King and the Gunslinger series, where it's the man in black.
McConaughey version. That's high praise.
Well, I mean, I love that book, and that the first book, Gunslinger. Stephen King talks about the first line wrote that book. It dragged him into that book. It's the first line is what was it? The faceless man fled into the desert, and the man in black and the gunslinger followed. That's what it was. The man in black fled into the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Yeah. And so Curtin completely looked good, looked very sharp in that black suit, but with the rain coming down and all, I can't imagine it was very comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I noticed too, like the suit, it's like, oh, that's very non-MLS, because I know like his first few years as coach, he was out there, sharp suit, that whole thing, and then he was doing like that more sports style athletic wear stuff, which also is really cool. So he's maybe like traveling abroad, he goes a little bit more classic coach, fashion chic. But Christy pointed out when we were watching the game, I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of like that whole like, what celebrity does this person resemble? And they had a shot of Curtin on the sideline, and he's got on this black shirt, and it was kind of like a off black colored jacket, and he had his glasses on, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's James Spader. It just totally like James Spader.
Really?
Yeah.
I was wondering if it might have been more like a John Wick, like somebody should mix up Curtin on the sideline and have him doing John Wick stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was the glasses. I don't know.
Yeah, but I can see that.
Either way, it was pretty good. We can ask Christy about it next week when she's back.
Yeah. Talking clothes, the Union did release their new home kit.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it in person, but the pictures look awesome.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And I can't remember. I guess we've texted about it. I can't remember if we actually talked about it or texted about it.
So actually, Christy called it, because last episode we talked about the thing, what it might be, and she had mentioned the fact that they posted the XV on their socials, and she had thrown out there, well, I wonder if they're going to include that in some way in the jersey. And sure enough, that center stripe is kind of snake skinny looking, but you see a lot of X's and V's in it.
Yep.
It really kind of hints at a lot of those items. And so, yeah, she definitely nailed that prediction.
Yeah, it's a layered aesthetic, right? You say it looks like the pattern is these diagonal X's and V's, and then the coloring kind of makes it look like scaly, and then it actually does kind of have this slight serpentine going down the front. Yeah, I like it. I think it looks pretty good. I know there was some discussion, the price tag on some of these jerseys, it's getting up there. I don't want to sound like the old curmudgeon, but back in my day kind of things. But anyway, as recent New Jersey's designs go, I do like it. I think it looks
now
good.
This is the only ones they've released prices for that you can order are either the replica or the authentic version of it. So my guess is there's going to be some sort of a t-shirt version of it or something like that that's going to come out that's a little more moderately priced, probably a third of the way into the season or halfway into the season. You'll be able to find some of that stuff at the Union store when you go down for the games. But I'm definitely tempted to pick up one of these jerseys. These look really sharp.
Yeah, me too, actually. It's the Simpsons jersey was a pretty interesting design, different, which is still part of our kit lineup for this season.
Our away. They wore them in the Saprissa game.
No, that's right. They did. And I guess we probably just like a standard white alternate jersey. I'm guessing. I don't know.
I don't know what their third jersey is at this point.
I'm going to guess it's a white one. And then
I would think that would make sense.
Yeah, it's a safe one. I mean, remember show up to play soccer, you always bring a colored jersey, bring a white jersey.
Yep.
And, yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's a good way to honor this milestone too, I think. Which again, that's one more reason to get one of these darn jerseys.
15 years.
Can't believe it's been 15 years.
That's crazy. And Blake has been here for 10.
That's nuts. How long so Curtin is on?
He's been a coach in the system for 10 years.
Yeah.
I think he's been head coach for 8, I want to say. I want to say he was under Hackworth for 2, but sure we could look it up once again if we did some research.
Yeah. Or if somebody wants to just email us in, we're pod@amorephillyunion.com. Yeah, for free.
There you go.
We rely on you guys to keep us honest, or at least accurate.
So please write in, let us know. All right, looking forward.
Jim Curtin has been coach now for 27 years.
That would be really looking forward. I'm not going that far. Yeah, so once again, you're looking forward. The Union games coming up next week. We've got 2 of them. This is exciting. The season's really kicking off here.
It is.
We got the season home opener against Chicago on Saturday, and at the Sub, and then we follow up with Saprissa on Tuesday in Philly. So this should be interesting.
Again, this is that whole 3. So we're doing 3 games in less than, gosh, what is that? 5 days? 3 games?
Well, no, because yesterday was game, so it's a week.
It is week.
So it's 3 games, 8 days.
Gotcha. I wasn't using my toes when I was calculating this.
We lost that one to that lawnmower accident. No.
And ever since then, my math grades went down.
So looking at the Chicago game, it will be interesting to see if the rivalry feeling of this game continues, as the Union didn't really like playing against Chicago and they didn't like playing us.
It got chippy last year. I was a little surprised.
Absolutely did.
But then again, we also got chippy with Cincinnati. Again, it's kind of the familiarity breeds contempt. There's a lot of guys on those teams who used to be on our team. So maybe it's
there's one less familiar player now in Chicago.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Shabilko got
Mhm.
traded to
No, he got transferred,
or
not traded.
he got transferred. All right.
Yes.
So Shabilko got transferred to Swiss Super League FC Lugano, um, which is pretty cool, I guess. I mean, I'm sad to see him leave our league. And just has some stats here. He was in MLS for what was it? 5 years? Yeah, half a decade. So I guess that's 5 years, where he racked up 44 goals, 17 assists, and 133 matches. And he only played for both the Union and Chicago.
Interesting. Yeah, it'll be sad to see him go. I was actually just thinking when you mentioned it, I was wondering which team Barnetto went back to play for, because I thought he went back to one of the Swiss teams. And I wonder if it might be this one. Maybe he's getting a chance to play with them again. I don't know. Just something I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But I mean, good luck to Casper.
Yeah.
I hope he has a good time playing there in Switzerland. It's definitely closer to home
Sure.
for him.
Yeah.
And it was a rough go in Chicago for him. He came off that really, really, two or three good seasons for the Union, and just couldn't keep it going in Chicago. Different, it was a different support system around him, and didn't quite work for him the way that he wanted to, I'm sure.
No Bastian Schweinsteiger there.
No, and certainly no Gaj dog feeding him balls. But yeah, so the Union will face Chicago on Saturday and then Saprissa on Tuesday.
Quick side note on Chicago Fire. Maybe it's a little barometric reading of where MLS is in the larger news internet space out there. But when you Google Chicago Fire, the NBC show comes up first.
Oh,
and depending on which browser or search engine you're using, there's several Chicago Fires that come up before you get to the Chicago Fire. So yeah,
ouch.
Yeah. So MLS, we still got our work cut out for us, and we're getting there. Baby steps. We got messy. Now we just got to get above Chicago Fire, the TV show.
Well, those procedurals really do bring in the viewers, though. It's tough competition.
Maybe every time someone scores, you just hear that Dick Wolf dong dong.
All right. So I don't know. Do we want to talk any predictions, or I think we kind of laid off that. I feel pretty good about both of these games.
What do you want to see? Let's say, what do you want to see in these games?
I would like to see a rotated lineup for one of these games, either Chicago or the Saprissa game. I think a comfortable pair of wins would be what I expect.
Yeah, I think with that 3-2 win at Saprissa, we can relax a little bit. I'm putting that in air quotes just so.
Well, we can use our starters as subs if necessary.
Exactly. So we can kind of throttle back, hopefully, for the second Saprissa game next Tuesday. I'd love to see the Union just win on Saturday. I want to. Let's start the season off with a statement. Let's win. Doesn't have to be a blowout. Because
it could be. It's going to be cold out there. It'd be nice to have something to keep the fans warm.
Yeah, it is going to be cold. And yes, C and I are actually going to be at the game on Saturday. So we will be
layers.
Layers. That, or make sure we load up on plenty of IKEA meatballs beforehand. But I'd like to see a nice definitive win on Saturday and an efficient win on Tuesday against Saprissa.
Yeah. I'd be okay with them running out the first team on Saturday and a more of secondary players on Tuesday and use the starters for backup if necessary.
With super subs as needed.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So we're gonna have hopefully a lot of fun news to talk about next week when we record with C back.
Hopefully. So feel better, Christy.
Yeah.
Anything else for this week?
No, I think I got all my notes.
All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot. As a reminder, help us help the U challenge. Our weekly challenge this week
is
a picture of of something to do with the opening game. Either yourself watching it at home, you're at the game, you pick a picture of of Subaru Park, something that gets across the Union playing Chicago in Philadelphia at Subaru Park. Make sure you send it to us with an, at us.
Yep.
Again,
what are those ats? What are the ats for the different platforms?
Yes. Our X or Twitter, we are amorephillyU. Instagram and Threads, we are amorephillyunion.
Yeah.
You can find all of that information and more at our website, amorephillyunion.com. Please reach out to us at an email or pod@amorephillyunion.com. You can also follow us on YouTube, amorephillyunion, if you want, but you can definitely use our socials. As a reminder, we have a very eclectic Spotify playlist. You can find it under amorephillyunion on Spotify, obviously. Make sure you download, subscribe, get our podcast wherever you get ours. You can certainly follow us on Podbean, the website, or you can use Google, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, etc. for all of your podcasting needs. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of Amorephillyunion. We're your reduced host. I'm Paul.
And in the spirit of C, I'm E.
Go Union!
I'm excited about our at the U challenge, or at the Morephilly U challenge.
At AMPU.
At AMPU. It's getting sounds more like pew 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 at AMPU.
Pew pew.